Hey, this is Emilio from Digital Stereo Guitar. Today we're going to go through the pedal board that I like to use, a pedal board that I would say is a good blend of pedals for every church worship guitarist. So we've got a nice combination of different sorts of pedals, and they just fit really, really well with generally a lot of the contemporary type of church music that is pretty common today. The pedal board that I am currently using. It's got a good range of different sorts of pedals that really gives me the mix and the sound that I want to get out of my guitar and out of my amp. So for most church type of songs that you would do, regardless of whether they're older school redone hymns, whether they're the more contemporary stuff by some of the big church bands out there, this I found is a good mix for what I need. I've played around with a lot of pedals throughout a number of years and just found that this is just a good overall balance and can create most of the sounds that I need, and at least has the pedal, the types of pedals that I need that I think are important for any church worship guitarist. Generally, if you are doing church music, you're not going to be playing really, really heavy stuff. So you're not going to have any really overdrive, really heavy overdrive sorts of pedals. They're just going to be overkill. If you want to have them to do a little lick here or there, that may be good. But I generally will go through for a warmer sort of overdrive and then have another overdrive in there if I do need to kick it up that extra gear. So my overdrive pedals are these three here. The Voodoo Lab Sparkle Drive, which just gives you a really, really nice subtle gain, subtle overdrive, and also has this awesome clean knob right here where I can manually adjust the amount of clean level that is coming through the pedals from my guitar. So if you do like the tone of your guitar, this pedal does not suck out your tone, it actually complements your tone, and you can feed in how much of your clean tone you want to how much of your gain you want. You can adjust your tone and you can adjust your volume as well. And it's just got a standard input and output there. And that is very, very subtle. I generally like to use that just as a clean sound and just throw that on to just give you that extra little bit of overdrive to sort of give you that really, really nice mix. Then move into the Tube Screamer. The Tube Screamer itself gives you more overdrive. So let's think about that as the first one. And then it jumps up to this Tube Screamer, which is a lot bigger. Now, the Tube Screamer, I've bought this intentionally to fit really nicely with my Les Paul and with my Vox. This may not sound good in every single amp scenario, but for me, it sounds brilliant. And that gives you that extra little bit of edge that the Sparkle Drive doesn't give you. This one is really just an overdrive pedal. So you've got your overdrive up and down, you've got your tone, and then you've got your level up and down. So you can adjust that how you need. Tube Screamer TS808, fantastic overall pedal, and just fits really, really nicely from this one to this one, especially if there's gonna be any lead parts, if there's any parts in a song that do need a bit of consistent overdrive, when the song builds up to like a chorus, something like that, that is fairly big, fairly chunky, then something like the Tube Screamer is a brilliant, brilliant overdrive pedal. And from there, we move into this one. This is the Rat pedal. This is by a company called Proco. They do a couple of different sorts of pedals. This one I've had for a long time, and it is awesome. It is just a really fat, dirty pedal. And look, you may not use it in every instance in a church environment, but it does really just give you that big chunky sound. I generally like to use this if there's a particular lead part that needs to build up, the music is stirring, the music is building up, and you just need some extra, guitar lick, guitar riff, a melody that may be in a particular song. That one is brilliant. Sometimes it is a little bit overkill. If you do chuck that, if you do throw that distortion all the way over to 11 there, well, not 11, whatever that is, that's like a 5. It is going to be fairly chunky. It may actually be a bit overkill. So I generally like to just have it around 12 o'clock with my filter just a bit to my right on my tone, and then my volume, I don't know, it's adjusted there. My volume's generally around there, around the 2 o'clock mark, and that just adds really well. Now, the thing that I like to do is I like to sometimes layer these three together. And depending on the sound, I'll sometimes have all three of them on at once, or I'll just have the Sparkle Drive on with the Rat or the tube screamer just with the Rat, or sort of just try to layer those three together. But that is really the combination of the three overdrives. And I find that regardless of the song, those three really mix really well. This is a Boss digital delay, DD7. You can't go wrong with this particular pedal. A lot of guitarists have got these. They are a great overall cheap delay pedal, tap delay that is hooked up to just one of these foot tappers that I can just tap along and actually tap the tempo on here. Very easy pedal to use. And as I said, a lot of guitarists choose to use these because they are cheap and they are actually really good quality. You can change the tempo manually. You can change, what sort of sound you want coming out of it. You can do like a reverse sound as well. You can manually adjust the level and manually adjust the actual delay straight through these knobs as well. And then you've got your output here, which I said runs into your tap pedal right here. Now, the great thing about this is that you can actually run this in stereo. You'll see that it's got an input A and an input B and an output A and an output B. You can also run a mono into this and output it in stereo, which is actually quite cool. So if you're running into, say, dual amps and you want to have your delay flicking between amps, you can actually set that up as well, running your input out and then out from the two just there. TC Electronic Nova delay. It's got a digital display right here, so you can actually see the speed of your tap delay. You can tap it similar to what you can do on the DD7, but this is a lot more versatile. You've got a lot more control. You can adjust the feedback, you can adjust the color, the actual how it feels, I guess, from a mode there of tape to analog to digital, which is actually a really cool feature right there. You can just adjust that. You've got your mod level, how loud you want the actual mod to be, because you've got down here mod style, and you've got different types of mods right here, 1, 2, and 3. So you can adjust the level types and the different modular sounds that you can adjust right there. And how loud do you want the mix to be as well? You've got different sorts of, I guess, delay types, delay line, dynamic, reverse, ping pong, pan, and snap. Some of those are really cool. Some of those will only work when you're running the pedal in stereo. As you can see, similar to that DD7, you can also run this left and right input and output. And then likewise, you can run a single one in and then dual outs to run that into stereo. You can save your settings, which is something that something like this will not have, or this is really just an on and off. This one you can actually save presets. You can customize the presets. So say if you have a set of songs, you're doing 5 or 6 songs, you can actually set 1 to be one delay type, 2 to be a different delay type. So you can actually mod all those, prepare all those beforehand, and then save them straight into the pedal. The Strymon Blue Sky. This is the smaller brother. The bigger one is the Big Sky. I find this is a great overall versatile pedal. This is really just a modular pedal. It's a really fancy type of chorus type of pedal. You've got different sorts of sounds. You can change the mode types. You've got there different sets from norm, mod, and shimmer, which really changes the sound. Just by clicking this little switch, you can change the actual overall type, whether if it's plate, room, or spring, how much mix you want in there, if you want it to high, low damp, if you've got any pre-delay that you want to be running through there as well, and adjust that accordingly, how long you want the decay to be. And then right here, you can actually save a particular saved favorite in there as well. Just really creates that beautiful chorus, ambience, really full sound. And when you pair that with one of these other delays, even some of the overdrives, it just creates a beautiful filling of the room. So very similar to my delay pedals, this one also is stereo, so you can run stereo through it, mono in, stereo out if you so choose to. The great thing is if you're playing in a church environment, this pedal is fantastic if you, say for example, don't have a keyboardist or somebody that's playing piano or something like that, because this fills in that really nicely. The Big Sky, which is the bigger one, has a little bit more variety, but the Blue Sky, when you have a few of the shimmers and a few of the delays and the chorus things built into that, it actually fills out the room really nice, and even creates that nice atmosphere and ambience that you may need if, as I said, if you don't have a keyboard or a pianist available in your church setting. Here we've got our Sigma Comp. This is by CMAT Mods. This is a small little company that just does some really cool vintage sort of pedals. This is a compressor. It just compresses your sound. You can have larger sustains. You can adjust your level. So you can use this also as a boost. So a simple input and output, but obviously be very careful how your compressors, any compressor, is adjusted, because sometimes compressors can really suck tone out of a guitar if you're not too careful with how you adjust that. Polytune tuner, really nice small tuner. You don't really need to get anything fancy from a tuner perspective. That is just very simple, very clean, on and off, and it just tunes very, very nicely. Ernie Ball VP Junior volume pedal. This pedal is just really nice for doing swells. Also, it's just a mute, so if you turn it down, your guitar is off and you can strum and you won't hear it. Full volume, half volume. But this is really, really nice, especially if you're doing swells. If you're introducing a song and you want to sort of bring in the guitar very subtly, you could just essentially just strum and then just push your pedal down and do different swells. I can't recommend the Ernie Ball volumes enough. Vox Wah, a wah pedal. Lots of different sorts of wah pedals out there. This one's good. It's by Vox. Great company, great pedal, standard input output, and it's super, super easy to use. And then this pedal is actually really, really nice and really, really helpful to me. It's by TC Electronics, and it's just a looper pedal. So you can just click on this, record something, click on it again, and that saves that particular recording, and then you can play it back. You've got a volume up and down. And what I find that's very helpful about that particular pedal is if you need a particular loop or a particular riff that is played over and over again in a song, or you need to introduce something and then take it out, you can just pre-record it into this. You can record live while you're playing and then play it back and then feed that in to the rest of your entire mix. So for me, really overlaying all of these core pedals, we'll say these are my core pedals, my overdrives, my mods and my delays, mixing and matching these, turning them on at certain times, putting one on more than others is something that is super, super beneficial. Very often you wouldn't just have one on and not the other. I like to mod these together. So it's good to learn the songs, understand the parts that you are responsible for in playing as the electric guitarist, and then you adjust the pedals as you need to. You turn them on, you turn them off as you need. And the great thing is about your delays, you can tap the tempo of the song so that you know that your delay is going to be in time to the song. If the drummer goes out of beat, which can happen, you can then tap again and you can then get your beat back to where it was to be mixed and in sync with the rest of the band. So there you have it. That is an overview of the board and the pedals that I like to use and the pedals that I generally would recommend for use in any church service. So that is it. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I would love it if you subscribe and also like this video, and we'll see you next time.